Welcome back to WagerTalk.com. I'm Marco D'Angelo, joined in studio today with Ralph Michaels of Cal Sports and Tony Finn of WagerTalk. And we're going to break down a big one in the SEC, guys. Alabama, LSU. At the beginning of the year, a lot of hype for this one. LSU was supposed to be loaded for bear this year. We always know Alabama's going to be there. Lost a little bit of the luster because they actually lost their coach, LSU, but they're playing really well under Ed Orgeron. What do you think, Ralph?
You know what, I'm going to call this the who's going to be our next Coach Bowl. If Alabama wins this game, it very well may be Lane Kiffin coaching LSU next year. And if they beat Alabama, I think Ed Orgeron does get the job and gets the interim title taken off of him. So, I think the game has a lot of luster still. The difference is what these teams have done coming in lately. And you look at, obviously, both teams off a bye last week, but you look at Bama, who they played the 3 weeks prior to that. They faced incredible lineup of at Arkansas, at Tennessee, and Texas A&M. LSU has had their leisure to do whatever they want. They had a second bye when the Florida game was canceled. They played Southern Miss and they played Ole Miss. That's allowed them to get their offense in gear, a new OC, different play calling to the tune of 530 yards per game their last three.
Yeah, as usual, Tony, LSU, we always know they're going to bring a good defense, which they did, and they were playing well defensively under Les Miles, but also under Les Miles, what they always did is the offense struggled. Now Ed Orgeron's got it opened up. Can they contain this Alabama team that, the offense this year has been rolling. The defense does what it always does. They always find a way to score a defensive touchdown. What are you looking at here?
Ralph really outlined this really well. A lot how I would have outlined it as well. This is, I think, interim Eddie O has done a great job. They're 3-0 since he's taken over. However, against the spread, this team's still 3-4. Overall, against a Bama who's 6-2. Bama has an average margin of victory as far as the spread goes of 7. LSU is basically nil. If by chance, and this game's always a physical game. This is a normal SEC conference game. There's a lot of coaching connections, obviously, with Saban being on the LSU sideline at one time. Kiffin, Eddie O working with Kiffin, much like Ralph described again, who's going to be the next coach of LSU? Is it going to be interim Eddie O? Is it going to be Kiffin? Who knows? In a nutshell, if LSU is going to stay in this game, they're going to have to stretch Bama's defense. 31 yards for Fournette last year against this defense. Maybe not as good. I don't think it's as good a defense as this year. So the day that Alabama quits covering spreads is the day that they quit scoring offensive touchdowns. LSU has the ability to shut this team down, especially in Baton Rouge. So if you like Bama, 7 points isn't. In 7 of the last 10 games, you guys, I believe the average margin has been 9 or less between these two, despite where they've been in the rankings. So I personally think this is Eddie O's spot. I really like Nick Saban. This group is focused. They're disciplined. Dwayne Thomas said to the press this week, we're going to dominate Alabama's offense. What did Bama's players say in this situation? They said a plethora of different things, but the one thing that was a common denominator was Fournette's the best player in college football. That was their answer to what Thomas had to say, and that speaks volumes to what Saban's done with this team. They're focused, they hit the ball dead solid perfect when they get on the field.
Ralph,
tough to beat them.
That last game against Texas A&M, the score was a little bit misleading because A&M had the ball. It was midway to late third quarter. It was a 20-14 ball game. Then they got the strip and score. The Texas A&M quarterback fumbles the ball, scoop and score, and all of a sudden the floodgates opened up, which it just seems like you watch this Alabama team, that's the mixture every game. Can they do that in hostile territory on Saturday?
LSU has not given up a special teams touchdown, so that's a big boost because obviously 12 scores for Bama in that spot. But, I think more of this comes down to playing at Baton Rouge. The start of the year and the summer game of the year lines, LSU was a 1.5-point favorite. Now it went down to pick, and now they're a 7-point dog, an 8.5-point swing. But my stat in this game is simply LSU at home, the last 7 years, 43-4. 4 straight-up losses in 7 years, only one of those by over 7 points. You have a very live dog, my number 5 defense, playing at home in a very live spot. And by the way, although they've lost those last 5 games to Bama, at home here in 2012, they played the number 1 Bama. They lost by 4. Here in 2014, they played the number 4 Bama, lost in overtime by a touchdown. I like the dog.
I like the dog.
I'm going to make it unanimous. I like the dog too, and I like Ed Orgeron. I think he deserves the job as the head coach. The team really seems to be playing inspired football for him. The excitement down there, and I know they haven't played really a tough schedule since he took over. They did manhandle Mississippi in the last one, but we'll see here. You win this one, you got to give the guy the job, and I hope he gets it. So there you got it. All 3 of us say to take LSU plus the points on Saturday. And guys, don't forget, weekend all access at WagerTalk, $69. It's the best deal going. You can get all of our plays for just $69 from your favorite capper. That's Thursday through Monday, all plays. That's football and basketball is started now. You can get all of the plays for just $69 from your favorite capper. Check it out at WagerTalk.com. And guys, if you're brand new to WagerTalk, after your first $12 purchase, send your email to WagerTalk, support@WagerTalk. Put your username in the email, and we're going to put a $50 sign-up bonus in your account for you to use any way you like. That's our way of saying thank you for joining the WagerTalk family. We'll be back with more here at WagerTalk.